Hi, how are you doing today?
A small group of vendors gather here every Wednesday afternoon to sell the fruits of their labor.
Hang on, baby.
They set up their signs for drivers passing by to see, and set up their tables of produce, arranging everything to showcase their goods.
I learned that from my parents. Yeah, I grew up at all my family, they do garden, so this is what I learned from them. So
your produce looks really nice. Do you do all this too?
Yes.
Yeah.
And to make sure she and the other vendors are in fact selling Oklahoma-grown products, a health department inspector makes routine visits just like she would with any other business that sells food.
We come and we make sure that they've got the food off the ground and that the food is, this is an Oklahoma farmers market, so we make sure that the food is actually produced in Oklahoma.
Demelda Newsom is a vendor and organizes this farmers market location. She says buying local produce is something more Oklahomans should be doing. And it's not just because it's better for the local economy, but it's also because you don't always know where your food is coming from or how it's grown.
If they knew, like some of the different growing practices, and they don't, different countries have different regulations on what, how they can grow, and a lot of them, use a lot of human manure, which is something that's really frowned on here in the United States,
That's why she says it's so important to know where your food is coming from. And she lives what she preaches.
This is a good place to start, is on the farm, because most of them don't realize that all of your food comes from a farm somewhere.
On her 5-acre farm, she and her family are nearly self-sustainable. Rows and rows of vegetables, fruit trees, grapes, and basically anything else you might imagine could grow on an Oklahoma farm. The Newsom family is not vegetarian. They have chickens and rabbits to add a little flavor to their fresh produce, but they even have sunflowers. But these beautiful flowers are not just for looks. They're here to feed their little pollinators. Yes, they have several bee boxes. All of this, however, they are not keeping to themselves. She wants others to learn and replicate what her farm does.
That's one of the things we try to explain to people, that, owning and operating your own food system is doable, and it's not as complicated or convoluted as it seems to be. And so that's why we did these little plots, to show people you could do things in small spaces. And also with the mini orchard that we've done, people typically think of orchards being huge and massive places with, and so what we want to do is show them that, bring it down to where they're able to replicate what we've been doing out here.
Thank you.
Back at the market, vendors immediately start seeing more customers. They're here for the vegetables in season, such as varieties of squash and zucchini, bunches of radishes bursting in color, carrots, and several other root vegetables.
You eat healthy, live longer.
For a complete list of farmers markets throughout the state, go to okgrown.com. For ONR, I'm Angela Rosecrans.